Hey everybody, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Sip and Read with Martinique. I'm your host, Martinique Brown. If this is your first time ever tuning into the show, thank you so much. I'm so excited that you are watching the show today. What I would love for you to do is go ahead and share this video now so that more people will know about this show and know about this book that we have been reading since last Tuesday. So, the name of this book is How Blacks Can Unite as One by Daniel L. Jones. Now, Sip and Read is actually a virtual book club. Now, I know that I just had Rod Duckett. Hello, Rod. Rod asks, is this your podcast? I'm always on the fence when people call this a podcast. I always associate podcasts as something you just listen to, meaning you cannot watch it. And then I always call this a show because you can watch it. So, right, I'm gonna say no. This is not my podcast. This is my show. Also, if you are watching, make sure you go ahead and say hello to me in the virtual world. Like I said, we have been reading this book called How Blacks Can Unite as One. And we will be talking about chapter 2, Black Unity, Breaking Down the Walls. So all of my contact information is listed in the description box. I would love for you to follow me on Instagram, send me a friend request here on Facebook so that you can always be notified of when I post new shows, when I'm recruiting for different projects that I have as well. Another thing that I would love for you to do is go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you truly enjoy these shows that I create, I would love for you to give a financial gift to my GoFundMe page or my PayPal link. Any amount that you decide to give will be such a blessing to me. So if you need to catch up on last week's episode where we talked about chapter 1 and we talked about half of chapter 2, then make sure you go to the my YouTube channel. Go to that link and you can catch up on your episodes. If you truly enjoy these shows, also if you would like to purchase Daniel's book, make sure you visit the description box because the link to purchase his book is there. Make sure you go ahead. Hey, Taekwon. So make sure you also go ahead and share this video now. So, guys, this was an interesting chapter to me. So, like I said, the subtitle of this chapter is Black Unity, Breaking Down the Walls. And another thing with this show, the way that we make this show a lot more interactive is when you post your questions and your comments in the comment field so I can shout you out and I can respond to those questions and things like that. So Daniel actually continues this chapter by saying unity as Blacks mean that we have to come together and stand against anything and anyone that is slowly picking off our people. So a couple of the statistics that were mentioned were homicide was the number one cause of death in Black America, with the most deaths befalling on 15 to 34-year-olds. Another stat shows that 91% of Black murder victims are killed by other Blacks. Now, when he put that in there, I mean, I'm really glad that he put that in there, but so many times we're talking about how much we hate, the violence that's caused on Blacks, by white cops and things like that. But if this statistic is true, 91% of Black murder victims are killed by other Blacks. Yes, we need to continue the fight for the inequality, with the police brutality, but we need to be having this conversation amongst each other. And so that's really good that he included that in this book, because that speaks volumes on how we do need to unite as a people. So he says that we as blacks already have a target painted on our backs. Being black is one stripe, being a young black male is strike two. And when I actually read that statement about the two strikes against us, it kind of made me, I feel like upset is a strong word, but I didn't really like that statement just because I refuse to let society make me feel less of a person because of the way that God created me, making me a black person. So I understand what he's saying. I understand that he's saying, the way that society views us, that's our strikes against us. I get it. So, Daniel made this statement, and you let me know if you agree with this statement or you disagree with this statement. So, it's coming from page 13, and Daniel says, the healing process needs to start with us, with one another. Take a look at our culture. Look at the Mexicans, Italians, Indians, Asians, Irish, and whites. What they all have alike is that they get along with each other. They stand by one another no matter what happens. They look out for one another. If someone in their culture falls, they will be right there to help them out. Do y'all agree with that statement or disagree? I disagree with that statement. I don't feel that. I do not feel that all of those ethnicities are united. They have division within themselves, just like we do. I don't know the stats on, them killing each other, things like that, but I don't I don't agree with that statement. What do y'all think? Do y'all agree with that statement or do you disagree? What do you feel that society has shown you in regards to the unity or the disjointedness of those ethnicities? So Daniel continues with this chapter by saying the first thing that we must do as a people in order to move forward is behave in a manner that is proper to build and foster trust. He acknowledges that this will not happen overnight. Daniel expresses his frustration with Black people trying to get something for nothing from other Black people, or when they clamor for refunds just because other Black people are involved. So now when he talked about, people trying to get something for nothing, now I'm an entrepreneur and I don't look at it as, if I try to negotiate something with you, I don't feel like that's getting something for nothing. I look at that as me being a business person, and I have learned to negotiate anything and everything regardless of what the ethnicity is. So I don't look at it, I don't try to get it for free, but I do try to negotiate the price. And I don't feel like there's anything wrong with that. So he said one of the examples he used in regards to a refund is student loans. So he actually said on page 15, he said, when we went and got a 40,000 student loan, and you never got the job they promised you, why didn't you ask for a refund for that student loan? So specifically with that, ideally, yes. I mean, because I went to college and I have student loans. Yes, that was my hope to, get this job and, make all of this money. And I did get a job that the qualification for even getting this job was having a 4-year degree. So that at least got me in the door of the job that I wanted to have. But life teaches us that nothing is guaranteed. If you have somebody promising you something like that, promising you a job, a successful job or a job that you're going to love after college, how can they? I think that that's foolish for you to even think that. So for him to say, we're not going back to the individuals and asking for a refund for the student loans we received, nobody put a gun to our head to go get an education, and I just think that it's kind of naive to say, well, you should ask for that money back because you did not get what you deserved or what you thought life was supposed to hand you. Because what if I'm a slacker? Yes, I got my 4-year degree, but if I'm not out there applying for jobs, if I'm not out there, busting my butt and um, getting my resume reviewed, the world doesn't owe me anything. And it is frustrating, to think that you have spent all that money on your college education, but that's life. That's the risk that you take. And so I just didn't really, I didn't agree with that statement. So, and that's why I strongly recommend that you go ahead and purchase this book for yourself so that you can actually read it. And I think my screen is frozen. So yeah, I recommend that you purchase this book for yourself and read it. Um, and you tell me what you think about, some of the things that he's saying in this book. Maybe you agree with it, maybe you don't. But that's the point of this show, is to really just have discussion about these books that I bring on the show. So, and the link is in the description box as well of where you can purchase it. So, to me, this book really has a tone of us against them. And the reason why I said that is because, you know, some of the things he said, some of the things that Daniel says is, we invented everything on this earth. It's not true. We didn't invent everything. Um, the oppressors have been the wrong people on this earth from the beginning. So now I'm a Christian, and I can't get with that statement, because is he more so saying like the oppressors have been, the way that they have treated us is wrong, or just that their existence is wrong? Okay, so you might not know this, but Daniel is going to be on the show next week. So make sure you tune in, and I'll be able to ask him these questions because I just don't agree with that. He says the oppressors have been the wrong people on this earth from the beginning. God created all of us, and so we have free will to decide if we're going to be a good person, if we're going to be an evil person, a mean person, etc. So another thing he says is the oppressors stole everything from us, our inventions and our royalties. Okay, so my question after I read that statement was, when does any of the blame be put on us, and when does any of the blame be put on us to how we don't educate ourselves so that we aren't fooled by the oppressors Daniel speak of? With all of these free resources we have to take advantage of everything that's available. And see, I'm just not that type of person that can really always just blame somebody else for my situation. And I say that because what if your child does not go to the best school? Okay. What if your child does not go to a school where the teachers don't care? That's when I feel that that parent should take on that responsibility to educate their child, to take their child to the library, something that's free, is no cost, but it's a sacrifice. It's a sacrifice in that parent's time. And so that's the type of stuff that I look at. I don't think that we can any longer complain about like our situations that we're in if we are not doing anything, um if we are not also looking at all of the free resources that's out there for us to take hold of and take advantage of. That's how I feel about that. Because I just feel like it's so easy for us to complain, but it's even harder for us to create that change in our life. And so, because it is so difficult for us to create that change in our life, then that's when we do sit back and complain, about things. And I don't want to make it sound like, I don't want to make it sound like we don't have people against us, because I know that we do. But I think that we have to challenge ourselves even more to find people that may be outside of our ethnicity that are for us, because we have to have some type of alliance, with these people, if we do want to move forward. And so that's what I believe about that. So Daniel actually continues this chapter by saying Black unity means that despite all of our differences, we all come together to work toward common goals with the ultimate goal of Black liberation. I feel like in this chapter, Daniel, truly does express some pretty lofty ideas of the Black community coming together. I personally think that it is very difficult for all Black people, as it would be for any other race, to come together and have the same mindset that Daniel is trying to encourage us to have. Um, I just don't think that I want believe this because we do have different personalities. We have different experiences with each other, and we all think differently. So I think that it's just so difficult for us to, just try to be on that same mindset that he is trying to encourage us to have. And I don't want to sound negative, in saying that, but that's just what I believe. But what do y'all think? Y'all tell me what you think. What you think. So Daniel actually closes this chapter by pointing out different historical events that shows us it's possible for us um, to unite as one. And some of the events that he mentioned are the civil rights movement of 1955 to 1968 to the present time. The Black Wall Street in Tulsa, Oklahoma, 1910 to 1921, in the Reconstruction era, 1865 to 1877. So, he does mention those events that actually occurred that brought people together. But I just feel that, there's events that we have now that has brought us together, like the Black Lives Matter movement that has come about. And so I don't know. I just think that, with the unification, I think it starts within us. I think collectively it is difficult for everyone to get on the same mindset with, you know, his ideal community. So I think that that's the challenge. Not to say that I'm not hopeful. I guess I put more hope in and more trust in my actions and how I treat people, as opposed to saying, okay, well, all of this is gonna happen. And like I said, he does acknowledge that this is going to take time for us to come together as a people, because of how society and how the past has brainwashed us. But I just look at, we have we have an opportunity to read for ourselves. We have an opportunity to teach ourselves about different things so that we won't fall into the trap, anymore. And, I think that this is also a good time to talk about like the whole Popeyes and Chick-fil-A, ordeal, because on my timeline, I've just been seeing so much about, you know, what if we as Black people was to really support each other with our Black businesses. As an entrepreneur, I do look at, you know, utilizing, if there's a service that a service that I need, then I do look at utilizing another Black person, to help them out. But with anybody, I don't give a lot of chances to people when I am spending my money on a service. So I think I don't understand like how we can really come down on each other for not supporting our own. But what if it's a service that you don't need or want? So I guess people are more so saying, look to your Black brother and sister's business before you look elsewhere in having the service taken care of. And so I think that, like, with the whole chicken sandwich ordeal, that's something that people want, and it's a reasonable price. And that's just what they want. If they don't want your product or service, then don't make them feel bad for not utilizing your business just because you're Black. And so, and I do also believe in supporting another person, even if you can't use that item. So let's say a person that sells t-shirts. I know plenty of times when I was selling t-shirts and people bought a shirt from me just to support me. And that was just so kind, of them. But I don't know. If they don't need it, then they're not going to utilize your service. And I also feel that you have to offer great customer service. So if there's just the foundational things of customer service that you're not doing, regardless if you're Black or white or green, who is going to want to come and utilize your service again? Nobody. So if we could just learn the basics of how to take care of the customers or clients that we have, then maybe our business will grow, And so I just look at that's how I look at those things. And if you need my service, then great. You need my service. I hope that you utilize it. But I want you to continue to support and use my service, because I do offer great service and I offer you quality work. I thank you guys so much for tuning into the show. Make sure you tune in next week, because Daniel will be on the show. And we are actually going to talk about chapter 3 and his book in general. So make sure you come ready with your questions and your comments. Also, this is a quick read, so make sure you purchase your book, and the link is in the description box. Make sure you purchase it so that you can be prepared with your questions and comments for Daniel as well. If you've enjoyed the shows that I produce, make sure you go ahead and visit my GoFundMe page as well as my PayPal, and you can give a gift of any amount. And that would be such a blessing to me as well. Make sure you also subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on Instagram. All of those links are listed in the description box. And I hope you guys have a great night. Bye bye.